Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Haven't ridden my one wheel lately, and I'm a bit out of practice. Right. Okay, guys, welcome. This is the third and final live stream of this evening, and we're going to get into some detail here. This is really important. I am going to explain why. By the way, to all new followers, welcome. Thank you very much. I've got so many I can't keep up. All new followers on YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Twitter or X. And I'm streaming live on all those places now, and Facebook. Thank you for following. I'm actually live on TikTok right now as well. A lot of people think that I am a house price doom monger for clicks and likes. Now, if you are watching me and you're one of those people, don't waste your time watching me. There's no point, okay? I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm here for open-minded people who want to understand the complicated thing that is the housing market. If you don't believe me, that's fine. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm here to help people. Now, this video, I want to explain why the time lag involved in everything to do with the housing market is causing a massive problem for people considering a move now. A very dangerous problem that I think is going to lead to a lot of people losing their homes because of negative equity, both buyers and sellers. So I'm worried that people are going to be buying now and overpaying because they don't think the market's going to be falling when it already is. They don't think it's going to fall as much as it's going to. And I'm worried about sellers not understanding or not expecting the market to fall very much and thinking, oh, there's not that much of a hurry. We don't need to hurry. And then wishing when it's too late, they'd moved quicker. I've already got people saying that to me from wishing that they moved earlier in the year. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through in detail both Rightmove's and Zoopla's and the Land Registry's most recent house price releases. Okay, we're in September 2023, and I'm going to basically do what any normal, sensible person would do if thinking about moving. What's happening in the housing market? Well, let's start by looking at the most recent house price indices that have been published everywhere and stories in the news and stuff. And after that, I'm going to show you some Bank of England data that was released just this week, which will, I think, show you how, although they haven't been reported yet because of the time lag, not only have house prices fallen other than is being reported yet, but are going to continue to fall much further. The main basis for that is how negative my outlook is for the UK economy. Not based on opinion, but based on measurable metrics. But I'm not going to get into that so much on this video. But what I will do when I've been through this, for those of you who've been patient enough to wait, is we'll get to some Q&A. Okay. But to start with, so good evening, everyone. 3Player Politics, Megajoule Currency, Savkin, hi there. Thanks a lot. And let's get into it. So number one, I'm sharing this screen everywhere except for TikTok, but I am showing you now, one moment, I'm going to show you the PDF of Rightmove's house price index dated Monday the 18th of September 2023. Here it comes on your screen now. Oh, and okay, guys. Alex, Housing Stig, I invited him to join this live stream this evening. He said, I better not. I might have had too much to drink. I said, I'll send you the link anyway, in case you feel like joining. He's just joined. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know how this is going to go. Anyway, Alex.
Good evening, Charlie. You dragged me away from a beef and red wine feast, you bugger.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining. Anyway, that's cool that you have.
We're looking at Rightmove, are we?
No, so just okay. Let me just go through this. I just want to get the screen layout better. That one, I reckon we want that one there. There we are. So I'm nice and small, and you're small. So okay, so I'm an innocent home mover. I'm thinking about moving home. I want to go and check out the latest house price data. Everyone uses Rightmove, don't they? They'll know what's going on. Let's check it out. So, house price index, the largest monthly sample of residential property prices. Not true. And housing market activity. Okay, we won't get into the credibility of this. Let's just take it at face value.
Yeah.
But okay, we're just glancing at this. So monthly price rise. Well, prices have gone up last month. Annual price change down. Oh, it's down a little bit. Yeah, I'd heard a bit about prices falling, but that doesn't look very much. Jump in new listings in first week of September versus August, 12%. Sounds pretty normal. Subdued August as market looks for autumn pickup. Okay. All right, scroll through. Monthly change. No big numbers here to scale. Everything's 0 point something. Well, that doesn't look like any kind of house price crash I've ever heard of. I think this obviously, it's obviously just clickbait and doom mongering. And at a glance there, everything's fine. Alex, everything's fine.
Everything's going so well.
I'll tell you what though. Let's just have a look instead. Just for a bit of variety and just so we don't just take it all from one place. Let's go and have a look at Zoopla, because they also put their house price report out this week. Richard Donald, man I like very much, who I think genuinely believes in what he's putting out here. But let's see what they say. So I'm just going to go and look at the headlines here. Buyer ticks higher. Negative. What do we got here? That's a complicated graph. I'm not even going to look at it. Let's just look at the headlines. No change in property, blah, blah, blah. Buyers unwilling to change requirements. Damn right, I'm a buyer. I'm not changing my requirements. House prices on track to be 3% lower over the course of 2023. Okay, so as long as you go in 3%.
I mean, that's horrendous.
Yeah, 3%. As long as we go in at least 3% below asking price, well, then we factored those falls in, haven't we?
Yeah.
So 3% below house over the course of 2023. I mean, this is Zoopla. They must know what they're talking about. What else do we have here? Our house prices fall in September 23. Mortgage rates on track to fall below 5%. Well, that's going to make everything pick up, isn't it?
I'd love to see that track. I'm not sure who built that track.
An average 4.2% discount knocks 12 grand off original asking price. Oh, okay. So people are accepting 4.2% below asking price. Good to know. Okay. So it's not screaming upwards, but there's nothing to panic about here, is there? No. Everything looks fine. Buyer's market, great. Well, it's a good time to buy then if it's a buyer's market, isn't it? What's going to happen next in the housing market? The housing market continues to adjust to higher borrowing costs, blah, 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 blah. Increased cost of living, yes, blah, blah. Big adjustment. Impact on house prices have been small compared to how much buyer power has been here.
Forbearance by lenders.
Forbearance by lenders. Yeah, so there won't be any problems there at all, will there? The biggest impact so far has been on the number of sales in the market. Well, that doesn't affect me. I'm just one buyer, one seller, so that doesn't affect me. And the number's still tracking above 2019 levels. I don't know what all this fuss is about, mate. All these doom mongers, house price crash mongers, they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, you realise it's the reverse baseball cap. I mean, that's the issue every single time.
Never listen to a man with his baseball cap on back. No. He must be an idiot.
Of course.
Must be an idiot. Look, this is a quick glance over there. Prices up in the north and they're down in the south, but only 1%. I mean, I can haggle that off them. Okay, fine. All right. But look, those are corporations, aren't they? And we can't trust corporations. So what we'll do is let's go look at the official data. Yeah, let's go look at the land registry. Because I mean that's actual facts, isn't it? Right? It's fact.
Well, it's a percentage of facts.
No. we're going on what your regular punter thinks,
Yeah.
right? And your regular punter, and in fact, even some seasoned journalists, as we know,
Yes. Yes, it's
think
true. Yes.
that the land registry is all transactions, and it's fact and it's data. So, what's the most recent one here? Okay, 20th September 3. That was only 10 days ago. This is the latest release. I'm a responsible home mover doing my research before the latest release goes out. Average UK house prices increased. They went up in the 6 months to July. Well, that was recently, wasn't it? Down
12
from a
months.
revised. Yeah, but I mean, the last 12 months, they always do year on year, don't they? And down from a revised 1.9% in June. Average UK house price is 290, which is £2,000 higher than 12 months ago. There's no crash. And £2,000 below the recent peak in November. Well, so they come off a tiny bit. Bardy bar. The Northeast, well, mate, I'm looking here and I don't see anything anywhere indicating that there's anything to worry about when it comes to the housing market. Transactions are low. It's blown the froth off the peak, but Zupa says it's going to come down 3%. Rightmove is saying 2%. I think somewhere else they said 2% down this year on
No,
asking
it's
prices.
perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
And so no, but just to be serious for a minute, Alex. If you are a normal regular punter, there is not even a hint of a problem. There's no rapidly rising house prices reported, but there's certainly no hint of any kind of problem there that I see as a normal punter with an open mind looking at that data. People are accepting 4% below asking price. Great. So now, the next thing I was going to come on to, which is, I'm glad you're here because this is your own handiwork, fresh off the.
Oh God, what are we looking at now?
And we're looking at this. We're looking at the graph. So allow me to pretend you're not here for a minute, Alex.
Okay.
And let's just go through. So what are we looking at here? The total value of more. And let's just forget why you did this for a minute. Let's just not talk about.
You know it's not on the screen.
Let's just. Thank you very much. Let's just not talk about his rustiness right now. Let's just talk about the graph. So this is the data from the Bank of England, correct? Released this week on the 29th. And am I also correct in saying that this data is all transactions? It's not a small sample size. It's not the land registry small amount. It is all transactions and it is up to date. Now, what we're looking at here, the blue line is the number of new mortgages, for the number of new approvals for people making new home purchases that were approved.
Value of new approvals.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry, idiot. It's late. The value of mortgage lending, and that's the blue line, right? The total.
That's the approvals, yes, and then the actual is the red line.
So the actual amount lent is down to 10 billion.
No, the red line is the actual amount lent. So the red line will always track below the blue line because some people will get a mortgage approved.
Sorry. So the blue line is the amount approved.
Correct.
And the red line is what's actually lent. And you've done this graph to show when it actually was. So we only have actual lent numbers for up to May.
Because there is a 3-month lag, roughly. When you get your mortgage approval, you then have to go through the whole process with the property that you are wanting to buy, getting it agreed, get the exchange done, all of that sort of thing. At which point it becomes money that's actually lent when you complete. And that's normally a 3-month process. So there's a 3-month delay. And that's why you see that the red tracks the blue very closely when you put a 3-month offset on it.
Right. So am I correct then in saying that this time last year, they approved almost 18 billion of lending?
Correct.
And this year, just this week, to comparing like for like, 18 billion approved last year, 10 billion approved this year.
Yeah, so 43% drop. Yeah.
Wait, are you there, Alex?
Yeah, you went very static for a second there.
Sorry, internet connection problems. This is brand new internet connection. It's hours old, and I'm having a few issues with the wireless router stuff. Anyway, so that is down from 18 billion to 10 billion.
Yeah.
And This has not been reported anywhere, has it?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't seen it.
This has not been reported. So this week, the Bank of England has published the fact that it has approved 8 billion, which is 43% less than it approved this time last year.
Yeah, what's more important? So two things. First of all, Adam, yes, you can go to the Bank of England website, look at the bank stats table. The table you're looking for is 5.4. That is where you will find all mortgage lending, etc. The most important point is this, Charlie. People will say that 21 and 22 were blown up years. They were unreasonable, unrealistic years because of the COVID furlough cash, etc.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to look at 16 to 19.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at those years, 16 and 17, both years they lent between 11 and 12 billion. And 18 and 19, they approved, sorry, about 13 billion, 13.1 billion.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
and so everyone will go, okay, so you're 11 and 13, so the average is 12. So we're only really 2 billion less, except those numbers are before inflation. Once you apply inflation, what we should have been lending this August to be the same as 16 to 19 is actually 15 billion.
Right.
So we only lent 10. So we're 33% down on pre-COVID lending. Forget the blown up, forget saying, oh, it was COVID furlough. The important thing is we are 33% down in approved lending from the pre-COVID years, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Now that is the scary fact.
Right. Okay, agreed. And I haven't seen this reported anywhere. And this is why I'm calling this a trap. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at this, this is arguably the most reliable data of all to do with the housing market. So we've now gone on to the next bit of what was released this week, which is the total value of mortgage approvals.
So this is the value per. So you take the number of approvals, the number of mortgages that were requested or approved, and the total value of the approvals, divide the two together, and you end up with how much the average approval was for.
And again, yes, so it's comparing apples with apples here. It's look at the blue line, right? It's a long way down from where it was. I want to just run through this. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here. This one here, I think, is really important. If that's on the screen, it is.
It is.
The number of mortgage approvals, the number of people who have been told, yes, you can buy a house with a mortgage. Just released this week, 47,900. And last year, 76,000. So 48,000 now, 76,000 last year. 36% down. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that's 36% down. And if someone this time last year had said, this time next year, there'll be 36% fewer people being approved for mortgages to buy houses. It would have been, no one would have believed it. No one would have believed it. And then on the last slide you've got here, the value of lending, which is what we already covered, isn't it?
Yes, we covered that one. That's the...
Yeah, it's 18 billion down to 10 billion. So my question so first of all, this isn't actually being reported anywhere that I've seen. Secondly, even if it was, I wonder if it would be reported. This is reliable to whole of lending market, because this excludes cash purchases, and it's important to point that out. This excludes cash purchases, but hey cappers, what do you think cash buyers are paying for their houses compared to mortgage buyers?
Well, obviously they'll pay more just because they can pay instantly and there's no chain and it's not a worry. Yeah. They'll like to pay a premium. They won't pay under.
Right? Oh, they can afford it. They're cash buyers. They can afford it. They'll just pay. No, in a falling market, cash buyers pay less than mortgage buyers, but that's
always have, always will.
Always have, always will. So, all of this data. And then, of course, the other thing that people need to know is that mortgage approval numbers, the volume of mortgages approved, is a leading indicator of house price movements as well. Yeah. There's no direct correlation that you can pin to it, but All of these things give very high degrees of mathematical confidence that house prices, not only given the numbers we're looking at, must have already fallen more than is being reported, but are going to continue to fall, even ignoring what you think is going to happen in the economy, because of the time lag on transactions. Even if the economy suddenly bursts to life next week, you wouldn't see that reported in house price transactions for nearly a year. Okay, so this is before we get into what's the economy going to do in the next few years. Just looking at what we know from Bank of England data, it can be expected with a very high degree of confidence that house prices have fallen a lot. Because remember, July's land registry figures is for deals agreed in January, February. So we've had 6 months since then, during which time house prices, I think you will see, have been falling. And they're going to continue falling based on that data there. So this is very, very hard to prove numerically. And if those of you watching me and being all cynical going, oh, Charlie, it's all guff and you're just blow, that's fine. Okay. If you're a mover who chooses to hear this warning and ignore it, I've done my job. Good luck. Good luck to you. Okay. If you genuinely don't want to hear what I'm saying and don't want to consider what I'm saying as a possibility and want to proceed as a buyer with overpaying or paying what you think is a fair price without considering whether it might not be, or as a seller thinking, there's no rush to sell, might even wait till next year, there's probably be a bounce in the spring. If you're hearing what I'm saying and ignoring it and choosing that, you have been warned, you've chosen to ignore it, that's on you, not on me. Because I tell you what, I would be much happier to be wrong, to be forecasting house prices falling and be wrong, than be like the Russell Quirks of this world saying everything's fine and people proceeding on that basis and then wishing they hadn't.
You mean Rusty using the most fudge data in the world to claim that what was happening 3 months ago in terms of approvals is now what is happening when we can see the real data from the Bank of England?
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Freddie. Just reminding that I'm being called a noisy outlier. It's funny how noisy outliers after the event turned out to be the ones who were right, but no one ever says it afterwards, do they? So there we are, guys. That's where I am. I am worried that this is leading innocent and naive buyers into, I got 10% off the asking price. That's safe. Yeah. Going ahead and buying before house prices then tank another 25% when they only had a 10% deposit and being in negative equity, and then losing their job because the economy goes, and then losing their house because they can't pick up a mortgage.
The Bank of England pausing right now. There was one of you had two very cynical viewers who are both contacts of both of us on Twitter. And one of them, when I asked whether they thought Bank of England would pause or raise rates, just before a few hours before the decision was made, one guy came back and said, I think they'll pause for a couple of months and then raise 0.5%. And it's like, Jesus, you mean they're deliberately setting up a trap in order to let people think that they've reached peak rates and then screw? That's very Machiavellian. Yeah. And another person chimed in with much the same thing. And you're quite right. The problem is that now that rates have paused and now that the banks are trying to compete against each other, and then, let's be honest, people are saying, oh, well, you can get a 4.85% mortgage rate. Well, you can if you've got a 40% deposit, yeah. And if you've got a perfect credit rating, and if X, Y, and Z. But the reality is, for most people, rates are well over 5%. And for some people, on the unlucky end of the spectrum, they're still over 6%, depending on what type of mortgage you're taking. And the problem is, when the Bank of England pauses at this point, a lot of people will go, oh, well, that's all right. It's going to get better now. I can go back to doing what I want to do. And
let me respond to that point, because it's very important that, let's just say they do pause. Let's just say that actually they've peaked. Let's just pretend they've peaked, okay? A lot of people will think, oh, that's great, they're not going up anymore. Even if that were the case, hypothetically, there are still over 1 million people on very low fixed rate mortgages that are coming to an end in the next year or so,
Yeah.
who, even if rates don't go up anymore, are going to be seeing their mortgage payments rocket, and who aren't going to be able to afford them and are going to be forced to sell. So KPMG did that survey that Bloomberg talked about this week, where
Yes, yes.
25% of mortgage, 25%, I mean, the survey was 3,000 people, but the representative amount was 25% of respondents saying they are considering selling.
And
Boy,
the
if
rest
you're
of them,
considering selling, you need to hurry up with the considering and get it sold fast.
yeah, but the rest of them, what was even more frightening from my perspective, for the long-term view for this country, is that something like 18% of them were taking interest only, and another 12% were saying they were extending their mortgage term. And when you take, those are the things that will mean that those people at retirement age have no fucking money.
Yeah.
And so even if we store the problem up for, you know, retirement of people who are currently in their 40s in 30 years time, none of it is good.
No. No, it's not. But again, I just want to say, coming back to the title of the video, the deadly triple time lag. So the triple time lag I'm talking about is time lag number one is the time between someone deciding to put their house on the market and actually getting an offer, right? That's time lag number one. Because right now, the people who are thinking of selling are thinking, oh, okay, what does it take? 6 months to sell a house? No. Right now, it's if you're thinking of selling now, time between now and getting an offer accepted on your average at the moment is going to be between 3 and 6 months, depending on how realistic you are and depending on what area you live in, before you even get a price agreed. You've then got a good 5 or 6 months of the conveyancing problem because of collapsing chains and deals falling through. So what, Charlie? Already, that's 3 to 6
12
months.
months. Yeah.
A year already before I've even got the exchange. Oh, and then it won't be reported for some time after that by the land registry. So when you add all these time lags onto each other, the getting your house under offer time lag, the exchange time to exchange time lag, and then the price reporting time lag. This is why what's being reported now makes everything look quite benign. You know, house prices aren't shooting up at the moment. It's cost of living crisis, but they're not crashing. House prices aren't crashing. Supply and demand. Prices will go up. So I'm really, really worried, and I'm putting it out there, and I want people to absolutely consider it. If you consider it and then disregard it, that's fine. That's on you. You've at least considered it. But I'm worried because nobody is saying this. So, Alex, could you, for the benefit of the significant number of new subscribers that I've got that will be watching this, tell them why you don't think I'm a scaremongering clickbaiter and there's actually some substance to what I'm saying?
Do you mean from a mathematical perspective or from a personal reference perspective?
Mathematical perspective.
Okay, so Charlie gave me a call last year about this, having already said in a number of videos that he believed that the top of the market had been reached and the house prices were coming down. And he said, Alex, you know, you like to do the maths. What's your view? So I dug into it, and I'd never really looked at it before. And this was August of last year. I'd never really looked into it before. And it appeared to me that there is a very strong correlation between wages and house prices. I mean, enormously strong. And then I looked at the country and its amount of debt. And as far as I could see, there was very little chance with interest rates rising. And as I looked at the inflation, the projection was that there would be a 5 to 6%. Interest rates would settle at between 5 and 6% at peak and then fall back, but still stay at 4%. And it simply wasn't affordable for the country. We couldn't afford it from public debt. We couldn't afford it from private debt. And households, therefore, would be under enormous pressure. Money would stop being spent in the economy. And when that happened, as soon as that happened, we would end up in recession. So all of our money, our wages, would be going on servicing debt, really, and just living and not buying within the economy. And this, mathematically, I couldn't see a way out of that. So then I applied it and created a little formula, an algorithm, which is a pinned tweet on my X feed, I should say. And you can see it's a combination of interest rates, wages, house prices, and transaction volumes. And you can see the correlation there, which is 0.974. A perfect correlation, so two lines that actually match, would be a correlation of 1. 0.974 is pretty damn close.
It's on the screen now.
Yeah, there you go. And when you look at that, you go, well, crap. If wages do not go up higher than inflation, and to be honest, we have had the last 6 months, wages have been much more resilient than I thought they would be. But they are still down in real terms. When they report month-on-month figures and say, for the first month, wages, real wages have met inflation. That's true, but we've had many months where they did not. So we are still being paid less as an average across the nation than we were in 2021 or 2022. And therefore, because of the correlation with house prices, there had to be a drop. Now, my view mathematically is that it's between 30 and 40% real. And that, of course, could be influenced by what happens in the country and the policies of our governments. But given that interest rates take 8 to 12 months to work through into the system and up to 18 months to be fully absorbed, and given that the market and our bond prices, I mean, we've had a few people commenting here talking about bonds being at 4.7 or 4.5%, depending on whether the US and the UK over 5 years. Look over 30 years. Our 30-year bond challenged 5% on Friday. I mean, that tells you that we're back to what used to be the old normal, because all the way from the 90s through until the early 2000s, interest rates were 5.4% on average, and so were bond yields. That's the way it worked. Inflation was not high.
Right. So in a nutshell, you don't think I'm just doing this for clicks and likes?
No, God, no. Okay. So I'll give you the personal reference now. I've known Charlie since we were 11, and much as he is a Hawaiian shirt wearing, baseball cap wearing Muppet, I don't believe that he has anything other than home buyers' best interests at heart. Oh God, you've got a single wheel. You've got a fucking big wheel monkey.
Well, that's why I have the backwards baseball couple for that.
Oh dear. No, mate. I've honestly believed you have the best interests of people at heart. I do think that you want to do good things for people. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I have no interest in charlatans and people out there to make money. I'm not making any fucking money from this. So look, I support you because I believe that you want to just inform people of what is most likely to be happening. And I don't think either you or I have said, oh yeah, 100%, it's 100%, because nothing is ever 100%. But all of the maths and our society currently suggests that things are going to go down.
Yeah.
Whether that is wages or house prices or just the UK economy in general.
I've got something really fun to read, everybody, to give you an insight into the minds of some sellers, home sellers. They're in America, but nevertheless. So this is a Facebook post, and here it goes. This is. I mean, to me, this is absolutely astounding. Now, more than ever, we need unity among homeowners. I see quite a few weak cowards in the area listing their homes for less than their worth. I understand the desire to sell your house quickly, but listing your home for a lower value than what it's worth hurts comparables for all your neighbors. This is especially painful for those who purchased recently and can't go underwater. Otherwise, they'll have trouble refinancing when prices go down. So please, have some humanity and stand with your neighbors and do not lower your prices.
Jesus God. Does that man have a very small moustache and was he holding his right hand in the air?
If we work together to secure our community's house prices, We can persevere through this winter and go into the spring where sales prices will go up again.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So that's just fucking brilliant. And now I've also got a question here that I just also thought was a classic case of a property owner, right? And this is someone on my YouTube channel called Simon GB. He's just commenting on a live stream from an hour ago. And there's so many things I have to say about this. So Simon GB 7897 1 hour ago says, not dropping in my area. Oh, I'd love to live in my area, wherever my area is.
It is. Yeah.
My area is never defined, ever, right? My area. They're just not making 5 or 10% a year anymore. If there is a shortage of property, how can it crash? Just pause. Let's just let the one go. If there's a shortage of property, how can it crash? Says someone who doesn't understand the finances of the property market. Yeah, they've been overpriced in the past. Well, nothing grows forever. I've been reading since the late 80s so-called experts talking about how house prices crashing. Thankfully, I never listened to them. I just kept ploughing into property, and now at 50, I am mortgage-free and consider myself very lucky to be in the position. Yes, you are. Where else would you rather put your money? My pension has done nothing in years. Show me a better investment than the last 20, 30 years. Now, okay, last 20, 30 years, yes. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the same in the next 20, 30 years. Prices need to come down a little. Should happen years ago. It was always running hot.
No, well, Charlie, and this is this is where you get so fucking irritated. He says, and he says it right there. My pension has done nothing in years. Correct. Correct. Pensions have done nothing in years. They've been terrible, and pensions are linked to the stock market. So actually, investors have had terrible returns, and that's why they put money into housing. Except, he's quite right. If you invested 30 years ago, you did very well. If you invested 93. Oh yeah, boy, are you quids in.
Yeah.
But if you invested, and actually everyone who's viewing at the moment, I'd like you to do me a favor because I just don't have the time or the bandwidth to do it. I'd like you to go to Rightmove, and I'd like you to look only at leasehold properties in your area. Okay? Their price paid. So you go into what they've sold for, and I want you to do that for your area. And look at anything that has sold in the last 2 months. So just July and August sales, and which has also sold in the last 10 years. So going back to 2013. And tell me what percentage of them are selling for the same price that they were in 2015. Because in Putney, I've done that in my area.
My area.
I've
At least
done-
you named your area.
Yeah, in my area, most of the leasehold properties that have sold in the last month and a half are selling for at or below the price they last sold for in 2015. Now, everyone talks about, oh, well, you can't talk about real house prices. You don't need to. Yes, inflation is important. Because if you sell that house, if you're an old person selling your house and you want to buy other things apart from just a house, how much stuff it can buy you, therefore inflation related, is important. And what I'm saying is, once you take inflation into account, even those properties that are selling for tens of thousands above their 2015 price have still not made money.
No.
So your commenter there, he's admitted his pensions made nothing, which means his shares have made nothing, which actually, when he looks at it, if he'd bought just a bit later than 1983, his house would have made nothing as well.
Yeah. Something else happened on Twitter today that I thought was astonishing. I put a tweet up, let's see if I can dig it up quickly, where someone who'd been talking to me privately about their house sent me a quote saying that they basically managed to buy a very old thatched cottage or house for $485,000. It was on the market last year. Here it is. And I'm going to share this because the comments underneath are amazing. So Hi, great work, Charlie. Just had an offer accepted on this, and he gave me the link to the property. I'm not going to do it because he's just had it accepted. I'm not going to
No.
my actual transaction. Started at 795,000 last June. Accepted 485 cash from me as owner wants to be in a retirement home before winter. He can't face a second winter in a freezing house. It was built in 1390. I got my 40% off. Now, someone went on after that. I don't know if I can find it now, actually, but it's because that tweet went a little bit. Look at that, 81,000 views that tweet had. Went a little bit viral.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
said that I've helped a buyer to exploit a vulnerable vendor, and it's scummy as fuck. Those are the exact words. You've helped someone exploit a vulnerable vendor. And I thought to myself, vulnerable vendor, he's probably lived there a long time.
Yes.
He probably paid 25 grand for that house back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it would have been less than that in the 70s, if that was in the 80s. He's made hundreds of thousands on it. He's been advised badly, and he's been on the market for over a year, and no one else has offered on it.
Exactly.
He's
And
not
he
vulnerable.
he wanted to be in a nice, warm care home. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I had someone else said, the two sides to the story, Charlie. What if he was forced to? Like, no one forces a seller to accept an offer. If that's the only offer, that's the market for that house.
Yes.
End of story. And it's
Charlie,
just amazing the victim mentality coming out amongst vendors now about house sellers.
the anger, the comment you made earlier, the trolling recently. Have a look at your comments. We've got Jay saying, hi, Alex. On leasehold, saw today a one-bed flat in Greenwich, listed at 260, last sold in 2016 for 320. And then Liam, hi, Alex. Flat here in Wales, on sale at 130, was previously sold in 2007 for 175. So, 2007 for 175. Now, slice of toast. You said anyone who buys leasehold is a mug. I got to tell you, if you live in a city, you're buying leasehold. It's that fucking simple. If you're buying a flat, and that's many properties in cities, you don't have an option. Now, you can say that everyone who chooses to live in London or live in flats is a mug, and I get that. And I don't disagree that leasehold has some serious fucking issues. I think reforming that will be almost impossible, much as everyone's up for it. And I think there's a march. There's a march on October the 28th. You need to check your Twitter feeds. There's somebody is trying to organize a big common hold march. So if anyone's interested in that, please go for it. But guys, keep checking Rightmove and let me know, because my view is this. Leasehold properties, which make up a significant proportion of properties in the UK, actually are showing negative from 2015, 2016.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, sorry, Alex, we've just seen the Rightmove data and the Zoopla data. And
No, it's 0.4%. Up.
Everything's fine. We're not entering the worst house price decline in living memory at all. I think we are. Do you know something? There's another thing I've noticed amongst my followers, my long-term followers, is that on average, very few of my followers actually think, it's not going to get 35%. Maybe 20%. We agree with Charlie, they're coming down, but 35%.
Well, you've got Cybermuse there is saying to me, Alex, what do you think it'll be nominal drop? And Charlie, we've had this conversation, and you know that I use real prices because I like to inflation adjust because it helps me understand where we came from.
Yeah.
And therefore 30 to 40% real makes sense to me. Yeah. Now, given what we don't know what's going to happen with inflation, that's likely to be somewhere between 25 and 30% of a nominal drop. But we had the argument, I think I was quite drunk. You were probably relatively sober because you're quite good like that. But I couldn't argue against you that it could easily, if the recession is even worse than I think, it could easily be 35%. And you've got
Well,
some viewers who have tried to show a mathematical proof for a 50% nominal drop.
so this is the other thing I wanted to say to people. It's worth mentioning because I've got enough people watching who say, "But Charlie, where are your calculations? Where are your calculations?" Like, I'm not a calculations guy, and even if I was, the number of variables that go into house prices is ridiculous, and there wouldn't be any calculations that show it. I'm coming from a place where I have observed at close quarters the inner workings of the property industry for over 20 years, and I have a sense for it and a sense of the timing. And I know, listen, a lot of you hear that and go, "This is just woo-woo bullshit, Charlie." That's fine. I don't care whether you believe me or not. For those of you who have an open mind, I'm just going to explain that I have seen how this market functions. For example, the software systems that I have built have uploaded properties on behalf of estate agents to Rightmove and Zoopla and on the market in real time. Hundreds of agents across the country. I've had that data and I know how agents behave. I know how the market behaves. And I'm just telling you that, what was that expression you used this morning, Alex, with me to describe the banking system? A syphilitic hooker with the what?
Oh no, yeah. What you mean? It's the makeup on a syphilitic whore, where all you're seeing is the white paint and the rotten teeth with the beauty mark, but they've covered it with some enamels and the wall paint.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid that is my interpretation or my perception, having been at close quarters with this weird living, breathing thing that is the housing market for my entire adult life, deeply inside it, right, like, in a horribly intimate way. I mean, I could tell you so many stories of sitting in board meetings of national agencies at direct level, sitting in the offices of Zoopla, having Rightmove's managing director and finance director come around to my offices in the early 2000s to look at the software. I have been at the frontline coalface of the way this industry has grown, the CRM systems, the data. I've been to all of the industry events and I know everything about how it works. And I'm telling you, it's been rotten to the core for a long time, the way it functions and operates, which is not, by the way, the fault of estate agents. It's don't hate the players, hate the game. The estate agents are the players. The game is controlled by other people. And it's on its last legs. And we are about to witness not only a housing price collapse, but the way the market functions and what's happening with transactions now, and the fact that some of the country's largest estate agencies, including Connells, right? Okay, Connells, guys, just so first of all, Countrywide was the country's largest estate agency chain, and it went bust a couple of years ago. At the peak of the most profitable time for estate agents in decades, the biggest estate agency in the country went bust.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about that. I'm not going to. But they were bought out by Connells, who took them over. So Connells were number two. Connells is now number one because they own Countrywide as well. And Connell's chief executive has just retired, chosen to retire now after 35 years, and they don't have anyone to take his place. They've had to put an interim one in there because why? That company relies more on referral income commission from conveyancing referrals and mortgage referrals for its survival than it does for its estate agency business. It is fucked. I think you're going to see some of these really big companies. Knight Frank and Savills are going to be fine because they make so much money. They make so much money.
All Savills have a lot of exposure to the commercial real estate market.
Savills
may find that hurts.
The professional services side of those companies, they make a lot of money. Knight Frank partners, I think, were on average the highest partner bonuses or whatever the partner. When LLP partners get paid out.
Yeah.
Knight Franks, I mean, it's on average, it's like millions per partner, and there are a lot of partners in Knight Frank. So they're going to be okay, but the big chains, the massive chains, are facing massive reckoning. And when they go down or go under or fold or merge or whatever else happens, the estate agency industry will finally have a chance to recover and step away from the toxic way that it's been operating for the last 30 years, and will have a chance, and I hope to be a part of that change with Best Agent, will have a chance to be better. Because all of that dead wood and you know you can just pick, it's like it's the Joe Bidens of the property industry, right? These doddering old farts that are still in control of some of these big companies, and it's the next couple of years you're going to see it's going to be much worse. People are saying, 20-30% of agents. It's going to be an utter bloodbath,
Carnage.
because the one thing that they haven't done in the good years when they were making hay is that they haven't stored the hay. They haven't put it away for a rainy day.
Of course they haven't. Charlie, can I interrupt you for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
First of all, just to say hello to an old friend, Patricia T, hello. And also to say to Tom G, you keep asking the same question. Could you point out which projections were wrong? Stick it in the comment. We'll answer you. And Cedric Powers, that's something you should have a look at. I work in data for a bank, residential mortgages data, looking fucked lately, to be honest. Completely agree with what Charlie has been saying for ages. There you go.
Wow.
So that's kind of the horse, the mouth, and also a wonderful puppet.
So, guys, I'm going to start to wrap this up now, because the purpose of this video from start to finish has been to try and say appearances of the housing market are totally deceptive right now for a long list of reasons. They are totally deceptive, mostly because of the time lag, compounded by vested interests, but it is not how it appears. It is going through there are still people doing okay. There are some good agents out there getting transactions done. Of course, transactions are still happening. I'm not saying no one's moving house. I'm saying that a lot of people are moving house still. There are still significant numbers, tens of thousands of people a month are moving house, cash buyers as well. But it is not what it seems. Okay? You have been warned. If you've watched this, you've been warned. And if you've got friends that you think are saying everything's okay, perhaps get them to watch this video. But otherwise, are there anything you want to take there, Alex? Anyone got any?
I'm just waiting for Tom G to get back to us.
Oh, just ignore the ones that have unsubstantiated challenges. It's just a waste of time.
You know me. I am that fish that eats the hook every time.
It's like these guys on X who've got like 3 followers and make ridiculous. Some guy said to me, I posted that. In fact, I'm going to show it. Right, I'm going to show it, and I'll even show his comment because it's just so stupid. I put up this graph earlier because for people who haven't seen this graph, it's actually quite insightful. Yeah, whatever you think of it. Hang on, where is it? Share screen. Here we go. Share. And here it is. Here's the graph. Hold on a second.
Oh God, yes, that old one. Yeah.
Right?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not wrong.
No. So this is a graph that basically shows the stages of. I won't go through the details now, but somebody commented underneath it. Look, it's too many comments. I can't find it. But he went, this only applies to investment markets. It doesn't apply to property because property
it applies to human fucking nature.
No, he was going, the housing market's different because there's no speculation in the housing market.
Sorry. Just rewind that.
There's an example of a fuck monkey that is not worth talking to about. You don't get into discussions.
There is no speculation.
I know nothing about the housing market. So I almost wanted to say to him, it's past your bedtime. Go on, off you go.
And through the round window.
Yes, I know. So it's really important not to get distracted by those guys. We're too old for that shit.
Well, I'm certainly too old and too pissed. And actually, do you know what? There is some leftover fucking steak that has my name on it, and you appear to be keeping me from it.
Oh, hang on a second. Wicked Witch of the West. I think I've got a new troll.
Excellent.
I haven't the time or energy to watch 47 minutes videos, and yet here you are.
Throw some water on her immediately.
Oh no, she says, I'm just seeing if I'm missing anything. And letting us know that you're. Thank you for telling us all.
You are. You're
Oh, no,
missing the apostrophe in I.
And I'm not. Lol.
No, you actually, I'm sorry, you did miss the apostrophe in I'm the first time.
I love it. And yeah. Guys, listen, thank you very much. But she's still here. She's still here. Minutes later, she's actually getting into the conversation. Oh, it's a very select market. Buy for new builds. Oh, hello, Wicked Witch of the West. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, wait. Mike,
always welcome. I love anyone who's got a Wizard of Oz connection.
Okay, is this Q&A time? Yes, it's Q&A time. Who's got a question? How long until it all unravels? Says Millie Weeble on TikTok. That's a great question, Millie. It's begun unraveling, but people are sort of standing in front of it going, no, there's nothing to see here. It's okay. No, move along. Nothing to see here. It's unraveling already. We just don't see the proof of it for a while. Okay. I am taking questions now. The question is, am I taking questions? Yes, I'm taking questions. Give me your questions. Come on. Where is this question?
Well, Jay has got an interesting statement. I work for a major financial data provider and spent 20 years before that working for the investment banks who are now my clients. Have been asked for prompt data on MBS, so mortgage-backed securities, as of late. Enough said. Okay, so they're scared. They're worried. They're worried about repayments, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Corporations are the slowest things in the world to actually react to anything.
Yeah.
Lil XCX says, question, if 10% needs to be deducted from similar last sold price, you're talking about sellers here. My comment earlier about always price. In this market, if I was selling a home, I would look for the closest, most comparable home to mine locally that was showing as under offer. And I would put my price at 10% below that, my asking price, to be sure to have people in the market for a building like that to come and view mine and compete with each other. That's what I do. So how much more deduction is needed for new builds with their high profit margins and take into consideration time lag too?
Yeah, their profit margins are not that high.
Well, their profit margins are not your problem. It makes no difference whether that these guys will sell it at a loss if they have to, because they can't not sell it.
Correct.
So the point is, if you are buying a new build, number one, check the quality, because a high quality new build is a good thing to buy, actually. You're looking for a long-term home. But if they're poor quality, you don't want to go anywhere. There's a living nightmare, right? But assuming that you're looking at high quality, I would find at least two that you like each of. You think, I'd live in either one of those, and then play them off against each other. Just, we only have a buyer's market for about 2 or 3 years every 20 years. So when it's a buyer's market, it's our turn to poke them in the eye with a pretty stick. Go, no, it's now it's. So what you do is you put in your maximum comfortable offer, take into account all the considerations that we've gone through about the market. Adam says, I didn't realize the land registry wasn't the source of truth. Well, it is, but not for another 8-9 months.
It takes
month.
So hang on. So if you wanted to know what the prices were in June, you'd have to wait to July for them to publish them, really August for them to publish them. Yeah. And then you'd have to add 8 months to that before you had 80% of the house prices for June. So you'd be in March or April of the year following year before you actually knew what 80% of the average house price in June of the previous year was. And to get 100%, you'd have to wait another year. You'd actually be in April of another year down the line. So,
right, Tom G. Sorry to interrupt you there. You've asked the question. I want to get on with this one because Tom G. I don't mind a challenge, Tom, but what I do object to is utter bullshit. You show me a video or a tweet or anything where I predicted a 10% by autumn 2022. Right?
No.
And 20% fall by Q1 2023. Okay. Go back to my early videos because, all right, have prices fallen as far as I expect them to in Q1 2023? No, they haven't. Does it mean that they're not going to fall as far as I think? doesn't mean that at all. I'm still expecting prices to fall on average 35%, roughly on average, give or take, around the country. But I did not predict a 10% fall by autumn 2022. I didn't. You need to go back and dig that out before you to substantiate that. We've now hit the 1 hour
We've
mark.
hit the hour. Well, Monica will probably stab me with my own steak knife if I don't turn up soon. Yeah, I'm telling you, she doesn't mind whether it's rump steak or my arm that she's eating.
Wicked Witch of the West is now Tom G is a dirty liar.
We like the Wicked Witch now.
He says it happened. Dig it out. Get the exact thing you're talking to. And if I was wrong, I'll say so. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You've all been amazing. Alex, thanks for coming. Always makes it much more fun.
Pleasure. I can't remember anything I've said. And I apologize if I was very, very drunk. So.
You weren't. You did. You cover it well. Have a lovely weekend, guys. Enjoy your Sunday, and remember, don't overpay if you're buying, and don't overprice if you're selling. Good luck, guys. See you the next
Woolly
one.
mammoth.
Bye bye. Who said woolly mammoth? You did. I'm going.